What is your position and title?
I'm the owner of the recycling center.
What did the subject do when he realized what was happening?
Ran.
It's a nice dress.
Okay, the guy was behind me. He patted me in the back. When I looked to see, he was next to me. Police car pulls up. I saw the police car. The guy gets out. The officer gets out of the car. When I look to my left, the guy started running towards the back of the building.
Were you detained during any of this?
Yes, I was.
How were you detained?
Guns drawn. They said, get down, don't move. They hold me down until the whole shooting stopped. They came back. We were alone for a minute. And all of a sudden, one officer comes down again and tells us, pointing the gun at us when we were on the floor, to get down, not move. We're still laying down on the ground, and another officer come in and tells the other one to handcuff us. Put the handcuffs on us.
Did the LASD give you any orders or demands telling you what you could and could not say to other people?
When we were in the parking lot after they escorted us out of the building, they said not to talk to each other or going through the whole, not to go through the event, to what happened, because we were gonna mess up the investigation.
Did the LASD do a search of your person and or property?
Yes. The search us. They asked me for my wallet, my license. They checked us. All three of us, myself and my two employees, were searched. My cashier, she got two female detectives that went through her clothes, lifted up her clothes, and tried to find whatever they were looking for.
Did you consent to the search and seizure of your personal property?
No, I didn't consent to any of the search.
Did you lose any money or work because of this incident?
Yes, I did lose money on my business being closed for one whole day.
Did you, with your own eyes, ever see the suspect shooting anything?
No.
Okay, so then...
I didn't see the suspect pulling out a gun. I didn't see the suspect shooting at the police officers. No, I didn't.
Okay, did you, with your own eyes, ever see the suspect wielding or holding a handgun?
No, I never saw the suspect holding a gun.
How did the suspect carry himself? Aggressive, nervous, worried, scared, relaxed, something like that?
When the suspect got out of the truck, he came up to me and said, well, I knew he was going to come. He got off the truck to sell me the truck. When he came up to me, I just turned, looked at him. He looked relaxed. He looks normal. I told him, talk to the cashier because she's the one that's going to make you a bill of sale. That's when he walked a couple of footsteps towards the door of my business when I walked the opposite.
Did you notice anything odd about the suspect's truck?
On the passenger side of his truck, when I was talking to him about it, because he was going to sell it to me, I walk around the truck, I opened the hood, and then I noticed that it looked like he had a blown out head gasket. Then I closed the hood, I went around, and on the passenger side, on the passenger door, it's a 4-door pickup, had 2 bullet holes on the side. It looked like they were inflicted from the outside in.
And that was before he shot, or he got shot at?
Before I saw the truck before the whole event happened.
Were you emotionally affected by this whole event?
Emotionally, a little kind of, I don't know how to say weird. It was just not, it wasn't a comfortable feeling after everything happened for a few days. It was just, I wasn't myself.
Why are there bullet hits all over the back of these buildings?
The back of the building, when when the subject came running out towards the back, there's a wall in behind the liquor store. He was probably trying to hide right there, and they kept on shooting.
The female officer who was supposedly hurt, what did you see her doing with her injuries after she was injured?
I noticed she came out of her car and walked towards the person who was detained. There were two other people that were detained. My understanding, there was two people. There was a female and the male. That they were in the male was in the passenger side of a Honda Civic. My understanding, the suspect was going to drive off the truck, sell it to me, drop it off, and that was their ride to get back home. The male on the passenger side was laying on the ground when the undercover got off the car. She handcuffed him, and I believe she handcuffed him, but she was holding the back of her neck.
So, but she was mobile for quite some time after that?
She was moving, she was handcuffed and everybody, she was walking around. She was the one that was next to me right when she got off the truck. Well, she came off the truck. I don't remember, she handcuffed the guy first and then she came over, but I believe she came up to me and holding a gun at me, yes, and telling me to stay down, to not move until the other officers show up. That's when she went back over there to the male on the Honda Civic and handcuffed it too.
Okay, on a side note, what was their reasoning for detaining you in the first place?
There was no reason.
But what was their reasoning?
Their reasoning, they didn't know who we were. They were saying that, but then we were alone for a long time because they were chasing the guy. After everything stopped, they came back and then they said, "We don't know who you are." When the detectives, the undercovers knew that we were wearing our shirts from the recycling center, the address, the name of my business is in the back of my shirt. I tell them that we work here and the girl was my cashier, and they still said, "Get down. We need your information. We don't know who you are. We don't know what's going on." But then they were following the truck. They already knew who was the driver. They already knew to chase this guy. And when I'm laying on the ground, I said, "Can you please take these handcuffs off, because this is embarrassing for me to be laying here when I didn't do anything."
Now, didn't an officer come up like about a half an hour before the incident and identify you as an employee and owner?
When 2 days before the incident, I received a phone call. A person wanted to sell me a truck. 2 days later, he called me again and said, "I want to sell the truck." I went up to his house. I told him to text me the address, which he did. I went up to his house. I looked at the truck, and that's when I noticed the 2 bullet holes. It was 4:30 in the afternoon when I told him, I have to go close my shop in half an hour, so I have to go. If you want to bring me the truck, I need a copy of your bill of sale and a copy of your license and a bill of sale. When I was at his property, he pulled the truck out of the garage, and I called the person who does my lien sales, and I ran the VIN number. The VIN number of that truck came to his name. It was no stolen. It was no lien holders. So the truck for me was clear for me to buy. Now, when I came down, I came down the mountain where he was staying at. I noticed a car pull up next to me. When the car pulled up next to me, he looked at me. I looked back. She's looking at me back and forth. She said hi. I said hi, and she turns into my business. She parked a few feet away from there. At that time, I back up my truck. I hook it up into the trailer. She went back in front of my business, back in the road, turned around at the movie theater parking lot, and went up the mountain again. That was the same officer that was holding a gun at me. The same officer that got grazed by the bullet in the back of her neck. And the same officer that after I saw her at the parking lot when we were doing the briefing, I asked her, "You were the lady that was right there on the corner." She said to me, "Yes, I was trying to get your attention. I was kind of flirting with you because I wanted to know if you were our guy because we saw you pulling out of the house."
What struck you the most about this whole incident? What shocked you the most?
What shocked me the most is to knowing that they were already looking at this guy in that house. They already knew where the guy was. They already knew that I wasn't the guy they were looking for. But when they came down here, they followed him all the way to my business and decided to do all the shooting in front of my business. Whereas my business, the barber shop, and the liquor store, where we have a lot of people coming in and out all the time, and we have a busy intersection. And for me to look at it and say, why they didn't stop him before, when it's open fields, when they already knew what house it was?
What do you think could have been done differently to prevent that?
They wouldn't be able to prevent that. They wouldn't be able to surrender the house, get him out, smoke bombs. They would have blocked the streets when it was coming down. It's only one street that comes out of that mountain, Main Street. There were just a few things. There would have been a couple of people just trying to beanbag him or something.
Okay, so it's your opinion that you think the LASD put the lives of the citizen bystanders in danger?
Yes, they put a lot of life in danger by them just reacting to what they thought it was, I guess, the correct way to do it. Now, my way of looking at it, I'm not a police officer and I'm not a detective, so the way I'm looking at it is like, if they're gonna pull over a guy and they're looking for this person, would have been a good idea to say, the suspect is on the move, we need backup. That means backup, not only them, but the sheriff's department from the town.
Do you feel the mainstream media did a good job on reporting the story?
The media did a good job with the story. Also, Channel 4, when I woke up in the morning at 9 o'clock, I was watching the news. I think it was 8 o'clock news. They were saying that the pickup truck that was sitting right next to the person, next to the suspect, that was his truck. They said that he came out of the truck shooting bullets. It wasn't true. So I came over to talk to the person from Channel 4, and I told him that wasn't his truck. His truck was parked in front of my business, which was the Nissan Titan that is parked right next to my trailer.
Do you feel the LASD or the San Bernardino officials coerced you in any way?
Forced me in any way?
Coerce means the persuade unwilling person to do something using force or threats.
What are you talking about?
Did they threaten you or force you to do anything you didn't want to do?
When they showed up and they told me to get down on the ground and stay down, when I had no reason to be doing that.
So you feel your rights were violated?
Yes. I look at it as my rights being violated because they already knew who I was. They saw me coming down the mountain. They knew that I was working here because if the lady stayed over there, she looked at me hooking down my trailer. The detective, the undercover knew that I was hooking down my trailer. She passed by my business when I'm doing that. They already knew exactly who we were. But then after that, they already shot the guy. All of them come over to in front of my business, and all of them standing there decide to handcuff me when we've been on the ground for the whole time. And when we were in the ground, they decide to do that when they already we were not a threat to them. Why after that they still handcuffs us?
Is there anything else you'd like to say that I didn't touch base on?
Not that I think of right now.
All right, man. Thank you very much.